Hello everybody, Nubkeks here. We're 154 item level, and this is the final dungeon of our week 1 guide series to these dungeons on Mythic difficulty for week 1 and 2. Trying to go in there and get the best gear that we can, so hopefully you'll be higher than I am at 154. My goodness, I didn't have the best luck. Well, hopefully week 2 will be kinder to me. I'll be doing those on Thursday, may stream them. But yeah, anyway, I will be obviously pausing, zipping around, explaining stuff in this video. If you want to see the full, unedited, raw recording of this dungeon run and us trying to puzzle out how to do this dungeon, and being griefed near the end by our tank, you can check that out on Patreon. It's there for the patrons. But yeah, anyway, Spires of Ascension. This is Zeb's least favorite dungeon. I don't mind it too much, though. I think it's got some pretty cool stuff going on. Coming through, you're going to be fighting a lot of these ads near the start. They're going to be doing casts. Again, we didn't have any particular mega strategy here. We were just trying to, again, use your kicks, right? Try to, you can see this interrupt tracker, the weak aura. You'll get an idea as we go through some of these ads. We're trying to, keep our kicks, just keep using them, right? The Mender, obviously, that's something that you certainly want to kick. Rebellious Fist, that does a big chunk of group damage if it's not interrupted, and so on and so forth. You could probably tank this guy with some other stuff if you're feeling a little bit brave. But yeah, the Mender, keep them kicked. A lot of these ads will sort of spam cast, so interrupting them and grouping them up is going to help with that. Burden of Knowledge, again, yeah, keep those kicks going. So long as everybody is using their kicks, I think you're going to be fine through these ones. One of the defining things about this dungeon, lots of flight paths. Very relaxing on Mythic 0. It could be a little bit stressful on Mythic Plus, just sitting there in the slow flight path and watching your stuff tick down. Here, for example, we can see this is a bigger pack. So again, just trying to, roughly speaking, keep stuff interrupted. You can see we're failing on the kicks here a bit more than we should. But that's okay. Just trying to, figure out exactly what these are doing. A little bit overwhelming with all those ads, but you should get through it relatively fine. And into the first boss, which is called Kintara. Couple of things to this boss. So number one, you kind of fight her in 2 phases. In the first phase, you're going to be fighting Kintara, and this little dragon guy is just going to be going around the room to random places and can't be tanked. Then in phase 2, she's going to start flying around the room, and you're going to be tanking the little dragon guy. On Mythic, you see this laser beam? Laser beam bad. Do not touch laser beam. Do not touch it. Watch this. Okay. Did you see that? That's really important as well. This is perhaps the most important thing. Don't worry. Do not worry too much about stacking these bosses together. I think that becomes extremely dangerous because Azules is going to be spamming out these casts. He's going to fire out these waves of 3 of these projectiles. Look how hard this hits. Almost half of my health from a single hit. So you need to absolutely make sure to dodge those. That's your number 1 priority here for this section. Dodge those projectiles. If you get hit, you're going to have a very, very, very bad time. A very bad time indeed. So yeah, make sure to keep those dodged. The boss is going to be doing some frontals. Again, make sure to avoid that. And here we go into phase 2. In phase 2, you're going to be fighting this guy. Again, dodge the things. She's going to fly around to charge spear. Not that bad. Just leaves the spear section on the ground. It's going to shoot out some projectiles as well, I believe. Again, prioritize always dodging those, even if it means scuffing your damage cooldown a little bit. It is absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. One thing that they have changed, from what I can tell, it does appear that their health pools are now linked. They weren't linked on the beta, but they certainly appear to be linked now, so that's nice. On beta, they would enrage if you kill them separately. This means that, again, just cleaving is going to be very valuable, right? Just maintaining that cleave as much as you can, getting damage out on both of them. If you can stack them up, it's good, but the priority really is to make sure you're dodging that attenuated barrage. And that's the first boss. Once you're dodging that barrage and not standing in the laser beam, I think it should be relatively easy. Moving forwards, worth noting that there's mobs in stealth here. These guys dying should give it away, but there you go. Bunch of mobs in stealth surprise. Fight them down. They're not too bad. It's just more the stealth surprise that's going to catch you out. Maybe stack them up with that Dark Praetor because that takes a while. And then you're going to be fighting through a whole bunch of trash. We shrouded through. The risk of this is that, well, if you die, you're going to have to rerun this. So don't die after skipping with Shroud, or else you're going to be in a bit of a tough spot. Get this Insidious Venom. You can kick it. It can also be dispelled. If it goes on somebody, it's just a dot. Excuse me, that will stack up. And more flight paths. coming through. I would kick the Forsworn Doctrine over kicking the Insidious Venom, seeing as you could dispel the Insidious Venom. That should be the debuff right there. The little lightning bolts. So dispel those. You can see it stacking up. And yeah, apart from that, relatively simple to get through these trash packs. Even more of them. Lots of trash. Lots of flight paths. Fun, fun, fun. Yep, fun, fun, fun. One thing here, these Dark Praetors, they're going to just zip around the place. Kill the squad leaders first, always. They have a buff that empowers their teammates. Try to dodge that sort of stuff. These Dark Praetors, though, they're gonna zip around the place and be difficult to tank together. Coming through again, target down that squad leader here in this pack. Make sure squad leader dies. Always killing the squad leader first, then take out the rest of the ads without that buff. And we move into boss number 2, which is a pain in the ass. I recommend bloodlusting this boss just to avoid the hassle of it. Ventunax. Yeah, this one kind of sucks. So the way Ventunax works is pretty simple. Whenever Ventunax does Dark Stride, she's going to charge to one of the ranged players and hit them. That's fine. But the important thing is she's going to leave behind this dark swirly patch. And as you can see, that dark swirly patch is going to be shooting out these projectiles that you are familiar with. Can I pause that? I'm laughing at myself watching this. Right. You're familiar with these projectiles from that first boss. These hit really hard. Don't get hit by them. It gets worse, obviously, later on we go. Now, this is quite funny. Blinding Flash is actually a cone ability. I thought it was, you know what they often do this boss mechanic where it's a blinding light or something. You have to look away from the boss. Not so this time. It's just a cone mechanic. So make sure you dodge that. I think actually in one of the fights, I don't know if it was on this fight or on one of my my alts, my shaman. I definitely got hit by the cone because I looked away and didn't even see the cone coming. So don't be looking away. You don't need to worry about that. Again, the Dark Stride thing. It's going to leave these wherever the tank is standing. This is actually a bad way to do it. I think what you want to do is you want to tank her around the edge, right? So drop off these pools in the edge on one side, reasonably close to each other. Give yourself enough space so that you can dodge them. You can see it gets a bit nasty. Putting them in the middle of the room is very, very bad. Blinding Flash, look at this. Absolutely not getting hit by that cone attack. That's not anywhere near me. Now, this is where things get nasty. The boss is going to go into recharge for 10 seconds, and these pools are going to go into overdrive. They're going to just start spamming out huge amounts of projectiles. This is why I recommend, if you're struggling with this boss, if your damage is a little bit lower, you can see how hard these hit you. And if you do get hit, you get knocked up in the air. So getting hit by just one of these projectiles can absolutely trigger a ripple effect, which will just wipe your group in seconds, right? Your healer's going to panic to try to keep you alive, and they're at risk of getting hit. Once people start getting knocked up, your movement, you can't move when you're knocked up. You're going to get hit by more of them. It's really, really bad. That's why I think that, an easy way to do it could be like stack up those patches, for example, over here. Get, 2 patches over here, maybe a couple of patches over here. During this recharge phase, coming up to it, you can just pull her over this way. So you got a nice chunk of space away from these. The projectiles will be reasonably spread out. The most dangerous thing is to be trying to dodge them right beside where they're spawning. That's going to be very, very hard to do. So just watch out for that. That is Ventunax. Again, I recommend bloodlusting. Just kill this thing as fast as possible. Drop Memory of Celerity, so you have to play Outlaw. And yeah, that's that boss. Again, we're coming through here. This is another section with a whole lot of trash and some really nasty trash as well. This is definitely, I would be shocked if this is not another Shroud point here in this. This Crescendo cast is, does quite a lot of damage. There's some really nasty stuff in here. Really nasty stuff. The Warden's gonna buff his weapons. That's not good. Lots of bad stuff just in general. Really nasty. That Crescendo. You can see just how much damage coming out. And there's a bunch of these packs like even further in. I think don't worry about the big guy. Just kick his Rebellious Fist and try to focus down probably the Hellion. Though she does fly around the place, which is a pain. Greater Mending absolutely needs to be stopped as well. That will basically full heal and add. That's from the Warden. So yeah, again, your kicks, managing your kicks, CC on those crucial casts is really important. So yeah, this place sucks. We just shrouded through. We shrouded through. There are a bunch of ads. You're gonna pull a bunch again. You can see the Hellions with the Wardens, and it's a pain in the arse, to be honest with you. Now you can fight your way through. Just take your time, one pack at a time. I think first week through, kill them off, and again, it's all about that control, which is, let's be honest with the pug, difficult. So if you do have a rogue, if you have the opportunity to skip, definitely worth doing. Then we come into the third boss. This is Oryphrion, and this boss, as we have done with the Shroud skip, gets a little bit more spooky. Gets a little bit more spooky because we don't have that much space to play with, and this is a boss which is all about space control. all about space control. So number one, he's going to be like smacking the tank. Obviously, don't stand on the tank. The big thing that he's going to do, number one, Purifying Blast is going to target a random range player. It's going to do an AoE around that, or a random player, excuse me. It's going to do an AoE around that player. So they just want to drop it off. Don't drop it on top of anyone else, and it leaves a dot on them that actually does hit relatively hard. Purifying Blast. So yeah, just don't drop that on anybody else, and the healer just heals you up. It's fine. Imperial Ordnance. This is the more important ability. It's going to put this big flashy arrow over your head. Once he casts the ability, then it's going to fire these swirlies, use movement abilities to get out of them, and these are going to leave these permanent patches. Now, the ideal thing to do, honestly, is to just have everybody stack together, drop them all together. Obviously, be careful, use movement abilities. If you're going to drop these all together, if you're a little bit slow getting out and you've dropped 5 on top of each other, you're just going to get yourself killed. So do be careful about that. Purifying Blast, don't, obviously spread out for that. Use the nasty dot. We're going to have another Imperial Ordnance. Again, try stack up. Stack these as much as you can. Move on out. And there you go, you're cool. Once he's done this, he'll do 2 rounds of these, and then he'll have his phase where he is going to turn these pools into orbs, which are going to travel towards him, and he's going to attempt to suck them up. Does he do a third one? I can't remember that. So they've changed this from the beta, and they made it a lot more forgiving, actually. I'm going to use Door of Shadows to sneak across. Purifying Blast. Again, just run it out. Don't need to run it that far, but just don't drop it on top of other people. Yeah, it looks like he only does 2 waves, so the Little Wigs timers are a little bit off here. He's going to go into this intermission phase in a second. He also takes bonus damage during this phase. Any minute now. Thank you for moving, because I'm channeling Voidart. Very much appreciated. We actually just almost killed him, basically, without having to deal with this on these characters. Come on, let's see your other face. Oh, he's dead. Where's his face? There we go. Recharge anima. You can see for us, he actually just died before he even barely did this. So what it's supposed to do, as you can see, it's supposed to turn all of these fields into these orbs. They then travel towards the boss. If they reach the boss, it's going to do a massive chunk of group damage. Don't let them reach the boss. You need to soak these. You need to hit them. They're going to do a splash of AoE around them, and they're going to put a dot on the player that soaks them, and that dot does stack. So your tank primarily, I think, should be looking to soak these, and then use a big defensive to survive the damage over time effect when they've got a few stacks. You could also have other players could soak, 1 or 2 each, especially if they have a defensive. They could take potentially even more. But the DPS in this point should mostly be focused on damaging the boss, and don't soak too many. The dot could be very dangerous for a non-tank without a big defensive. But yeah, there you go. Obviously, we killed him before he did that. But yeah, that's sort of managing the pools. If you're able to stack the pools reasonably well and move further away, they're a little bit easier to deal with. So there you are. All right, then you're going to go up here and have this nice big flight path. And then our tank decided to grief us at this point. It's quite funny. So you've got these 3 adds that are flying in the sky. This is one of the hardest parts of the incident. This is going to be Nightmare on Fortified. So you see each of these things, right? Each of these adds has an ability, and when the add dies, it's going to give its ability to the other adds. This first one's not too bad, right? He has Charged Spear. He's going to throw spears. They're going to shoot out these line attacks. You can dodge those. It's fine. That one is the safest one. You want to kill him first, right? You want to kill him first. The second one and the third one are much more dangerous. The second one has Oppression, which is going to stack up a debuff on you, where you're going to take more damage with each stack of that debuff. The third one is going to stack a dot on you. Okay, stack a dot. I'm not sure if it's better to go 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3. We said we just go 1, 2, 3, and that worked for us. You can see Aura of Intimidation is on the last one. He's going to put a dot on you. It's going to do damage every 3 seconds, and it's going to stack and stack and stack. Where this gets dangerous is when this is why you kill this guy first. Spears are fine. It's when you combine the stacking damage increase from the second guy and the dot from the third guy. When those both get to high stacks, you're taking absolutely crazy group-wide damage. It's very, very scary. So yeah, we just killed them one by one in this order, so that basically you only have to deal with the damage taken increase, get him down low, and then it's probably worth lusting. I imagine that the lust strategy is going to be something like probably lust on this guy, and then definitely be lusting on this pack rather than the last boss. It's not worth a lust, I don't think. But I think lusting on these guys towards the end when those stacks are high is going to be the way to go. Our tank decided to grief us. Yeah. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to pull all of them. But you're going to see, not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. You're going to see these stacks are going to start building up. And yeah, you can see it start to build up. It's going to get pretty bad. Pretty bad pretty quickly. Definitely do try to avoid this. Let me skip a bit further on. You can see we're absolutely getting melted. We've got 20 stacks of both debuffs. People are flopping over. It's not too pretty. That being said, Envier has full mana, so I'm not sure. Maybe you could heal more. Bad Envier. Heal more. But yeah, you don't want to do this. Immunities do reset the stacks. Dying and battle resing someone resets the stacks, so you can get away with it like that. But yeah, don't do what our tank did. He was like, it'll be fine, YOLO, let's go. And we were full of regrets afterwards. It's a hassle you don't want to deal with. So yeah, there you go. We eventually kill these guys. I think the comment after we killed them was, wait, that wasn't the boss? So yeah, don't pull them all together. You're making that more difficult than you need to be. Finally then, we have Devos. Not too bad. Honestly, I think the trash, those mini-bosses before her are worse. She has a couple of simple abilities. If you do them right, you're going to be totally fine. So one of her first things she's going to do is she will charge at people. She'll pick a target and charge at them. Don't be hit by the charge. Run through. Yeah, run through. Don't get hit by that, obviously. Straightforward enough. She's also going to put like debuffs on people, which will leave zones on the floor. That's fine. You can dispel them. Just mostly ignore them. This is the big thing you want to watch out for. Okay, well, she phased there. She phases every third hit points, every third of her HP bar, basically. She's going to do a cast called Abyssal Detonation. They've made this much clearer since the beta. She's going to channel that cast. It's going to do an explosion that will essentially, just think of it as basically killing anybody that's not inside this barrier. So be near the barrier. When she does Abyssal Detonation, get into the barrier and you'll be protected from it. Now, she actually phased before that. We go into the intermission, but you get the idea. You'll see it later in the fight. In the intermission, you have to pick up these 5 anima orbs and bring them to the spear in the middle of the room. There's also going to be these patches on the floor. Try to dodge those patches. They're going to give you a debuff if you touch them. So obviously that is bad. Don't do that. Once you've put 5 charges into the spear, you can click on the spear. There we go. Get up, and then you can target it and throw the spear at the boss. When you hit the boss, it ends the intermission. Everybody comes back. It's all good. You want to do this fairly quickly because it is stacking up a debuff, which is kind of nasty. And then you're back to phase 1. So like I said, it's pretty simple. Obviously, Bloodlust isn't going to do too much good here because this boss is very easy, I think, once you know what to do, at least in this current tuning. And yeah, because she's going to phase every third of her hit points, you have to do 2 of these intermissions. Here's the Abyssal Detonation. Be in the thing. Boom, explosion goes off. We're in the barrier, so we're fine. Yeah, Bloodlust is not really going to speed you up too much. But she's going to go into another intermission in a second here. Yeah, there she goes. So she's out of there. Here's another intermission. Again, pick up the orbs. Bring them to the central thing. Try to dodge the stuff. You can only, as you see, pick up 1 at a time. Got hit by that. That's not too good. You want to dodge those. Make your life easier for your healer. I believe you can just dispel those. They're magic debuffs. So, for example, me as a priest could drop like a mass dispel on the group to keep us alive. I'm not going to do it because I didn't realize this at the time. That would have been a good choice, though. Throw the spear. And there you go. That is the dungeon. That is, what's it called? Spires of Ascension. This was the last one, right? Yeah, boom. We've done it. That is all the good dungeon guides done. All 8 of them for week 1 and 2 of Shadowlands. Again, stay tuned for Mythic Plus coming out, where we'll obviously be doing these dungeons on Mythic Plus, and I'll give you guys some tips on how to handle them in Mythic Plus, with stuff scaling up and getting harder and so on, and getting those mechanics clean is going to be more and more important. So yeah, I will see you guys for that. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little guide series for the first couple of weeks of the dungeons, just giving you insight into our runs and what we did. Hope that you have good luck as well, and good luck with the loot. I will see you next time. 154. Goodbye. Bye-bye.